Welcome to The Abundance Project, the podcast where together we hack the game of life to manifest more abundance in business, love, money, and freedom. I'm your host, Tess, a six-figure business owner, a fiance, a hot dog mom, and a woman who, just like you, is navigating the journey of compounding abundance every single day. In each episode, we'll dive into practical strategies, inspiring stories, and actionable tips to help you unlock your fullest potential and create a life overflowing with abundance. Whether you're looking to elevate your career, deepen your relationships, achieve financial freedom, or simply find more joy and fulfillment, you're in the right place. So join me on this adventure as we learn, grow, and manifest abundance together. Let's get into the episode. Hello guys, and welcome officially to episode number 1 of the Abundance Project. Whether you are an OG Talks With Tess listener or you are new to the Abundance Project, I want to say hi, I want to say welcome, I want to say I am so fucking excited. There is like 6 million stories that I need to tell you in this episode today, so like buckle yourself in. But I'm just honestly so grateful to have you here. Like, it means the world to know that you have my voice in your ear holes, or perhaps you're watching this on YouTube, and I just am so appreciative of everything you do to invest in yourself, to invest in me, and I just cannot wait for this motherfucking epic ride that we are about to go on together. So, before I get into what I have planned for the episode, I want to let you know that this is the second time that I've recorded this episode. I have never, in the history of my 83 Talks with Tess episodes, I have never re-recorded an episode. In fact, the only time that I've ever deleted anything and started again was the very first episode that I recorded ever, maybe like 2 years ago. And I got 5 minutes in and I was like, fuck it. And that's not it. And then I started again, and then I did it one more time and I sent it and I didn't listen back and I just fucking posted it. And that is how I have done everything. Now, I didn't choose to re-record this episode. It was chosen for me. And I think that that's, like, I don't fully know yet the reason in that or the why in that, although I believe that specifically this episode could have been a lot better, made a lot more impact as the first fucking episode of the Abundance Project. So I fully surrender to whatever the reason was, but basically I have recorded the first 4 episodes of the Abundance Project, 3 of which were guest episodes. I put them all on an external hard drive and it cooked on me. It died. It's fucked. And I have been looking at getting it fixed. It's currently with a computer guy, an IT guy. And he's texted me a few times, like when we first spoke on the phone, he was like, yep, should be pretty easy, should be XYZ, like not a hard job at all. Well, it turns out that it's actually fried. It's actually fucked. It's not just a matter of recovering it and then transferring it over to another thing. It's like a full recovery process. I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but basically he hasn't finished with it yet. He's going to try one more thing. And he was like, if that doesn't work, I'm going to drop it back to you and I'm going to give you the name of my recovery place. And that could cost upwards of $600-$700. It could even go into the 4-figure mark. And I was like, you know what? The only thing that's important on there is these episodes. I'm just gonna start again. Thankfully 2 of the episodes I recorded on Zoom, I have the audio for them, so you will still hear those episodes. They were fucking fantastic. You just won't see the video that goes with them. And an episode that I did with my best friend Tiana is lost to the ethers, but that's okay, because I can abuse her time. She's my bestie. So we will re-record that one for you guys. Also quite funny, we recorded it when she came and visited me. She lives in Sydney. I live in the Gold Coast. She came and visited me and we recorded it on my spare bed. And the amount of people that messaged us back being like, that looks like an OnlyFans setup. I'm like, probably good that footage is gone. Probably good. So I will get an actual podcast set up or hire one or something for when, or we'll do it on Zoom for when her and I record an episode. And that is happy days. So guys, welcome to my second recording of the first episode of the Abundance Project. I want to talk about the rebrand, and then I want to actually reintroduce myself because I feel like I have been a guest on so many other podcasts recently, which I fucking love. I love being a guest on podcasts. And every time I get to reintroduce myself, I get to share my story again. I'm like, fuck, there's so many things that I don't speak about very often, or I haven't gone into depth in a very, very long time. And so I want to reintroduce myself. I want to tell you my story. I want to tell you like where we're going, what the vision for this podcast is now. And yeah, I'm really excited. Like I said before, I'm really excited for you to come on the journey with me. I feel like this is going to be a journey. It's going to be an evolution, and that is so exciting. So why the fuck did I rebrand the podcast? Talks with Tess was great. I love Talks with Tess. I love like that I just fucking sent it without knowing what the fuck I was doing. I had no idea how to run a podcast. I had no idea what to record on or like what microphone to get. Like, fun fact, this pink little microphone that I got here, which I'm all in my matchy pink, this little pink microphone that I got here, I got it because I walked into JB Hi-Fi when I first decided 83 episodes ago that I wanted to start a podcast, and I looked at the wall of microphones and I was like, that one's pink, I'll take it. Like, I had no fucking idea. And the more that I've evolved, the more that I've fucking loved podcasting so much. Like, I am a talker. I could talk a lot, which is actually like quite funny because there is a very big paradox within me where I'm a very big listener. I'm a very big observer. And it's so funny, my fiance Brody, he says to me quite often, like, you're not that talkative. You actually don't talk a lot. You're not as energetic as you are online. And there are these two sides of me where when I'm in my zone, when I am the center of attention, the extrovert in me is like, let's fucking go. But when I'm in my introverted observer mode, I am very not reserved in terms of like, if I had something to say, I'd fucking say it. But I love listening. I love observing. I love just like soaking everything in, being very receptive. If you guys don't know, I fucking love human design. I started building my business off it. And whilst I don't want my business to be built off human design anymore, that is basically where I started, like fitness and then human design and whatnot. But in my human design chart, you have these 4 arrows above your chart, and all 4 of mine point to the right, which means I am very feminine in my energy, very receptive. Receptive being that keyword, right? Receivership, like I speak about this all of the time. But there are these two different sides of me, the very, very energetic one and the also very like laid back observer one. So I'm just so excited to be able to embrace that energetic, like that yapping side of me, the talkative side of me, because I can talk your motherfucking ear off. When I am invested in a topic, when I get on a roll, when I get in my channel, in my like, sometimes I don't actually think that's me talking. I think there is something actually coming out of me when I get in that zone. I just can go and go and go and go, which sometimes makes it challenging to make short form content on Instagram. And I love that. I love short form content. I love like thinking about creative hooks, and I love like giving people a short bit of information or something a little bit motivational or inspirational. But where my heart really truly lies is in going into the long form, going into the nuance, because there is so much nuance and context in this world. And I think we can get a little bit caught up on short form content like Instagram or TikTok, whatever you're on. We can get a little bit caught up in that thinking that like, oh, this person said A and so B doesn't exist. But really the truth is that like everything exists. Everything coexists at the exact same time. And I really love this platform to be able to go into that nuance and to be able to play in that world with you all. So yeah, I'm really excited to be able to get back into long form content, into podcasting. I've got my GoPro set up. Like, I've got a little AI app that's going to chop some reels. We have an Instagram page for the Abundance Project. Everything is legit. And when I sat with like, okay, I want to take the podcast a little bit more seriously, I was like, Talks with Tess just isn't the vibe. I'm sorry. I love myself. I love my name. I love the Talks with Tess alliteration. However, nobody's going on their Spotify and like having Talks with Tess come up on their top podcasts or their recommended podcast, right? Like, that's just not really like, oh yeah, I want to listen to that, unless I have 1 million followers. Like, people are just going to scroll past that. So what I wanted to do was really sit with like, okay, I want more direction in the podcast. I want not to niche it, but to kind of niche it a little bit, to give it some more intention. I don't want it to just be like Talks with Tess anymore. I want to have a purpose. I want to have an intention. And a lot of my business at the moment is very much built around business mindset coaching, around money mindset coaching. And I don't really have a place to like geek out on the woo shit. And this is where I wanted to bring that in. Whilst I called it the Abundance Project, though, this does kind of like show you a glimpse of what I do in my world and what I do in my business, and we go deeper in my programs, in mentorship and everything like that. I did want to have a space where I just got to like share the basics. I got to dive in deep on some life-changing principles and some different conversations that are really going to change the game for you. So I was sitting with a few different names. Firstly, I wanted to call it Money, Mindset, and Manifestation, but that already exists. So go off to the woman that owns that. Like, you beat me to it. And then I wanted to call it Wealthy Woo Women. I'm glad I didn't. Like, I think I could have made it cool, but anyways, I was driving Brody to the airport because he works FIFO at the moment, and I was driving there to drop him off, and we were having a bit of a conversation about it, and then it kind of just hit me, and I was like, the Abundance Project. I was like, I fucking love that. I love that. I feel like abundance encapsulates everything that I speak to in my world, everything, my dog is jumping up, everything that I love to go into depth on. And funnily enough, at the start of this year, I have been choosing a word of the year for the last 2 years, and I think it was connection last year, and oh boy, is that what I got. So this year I chose the word abundance, and a few months into the year, I learned about numerology and how we have a collective year and we also have a personal year. Well, my personal year is the same as the collective year, and for 2024, it's an 8, and 8 represents abundance. So all of these things just started lining up where I was like, shit, it really is my year of abundance. I really am diving into that topic, and abundance to me means financially, and I think that's where most of our brains go, is to like money, freedom, all of these different like material things, and that's great, and we want that. I fucking want that. I want to be a wealthy woman. I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I want to be like living in not an extravagant life, but I want to be living that life where money never influences my choice, right? That's what abundance really means to me in the realm of financial abundance, right? But abundance also means love. It also means relationships. It means freedom. It means wealth. It means health. And so the Abundance Project is really about that journey of seeking more abundance, because I don't believe that we ever, quote unquote, get there. I don't believe that we've ever reached the peak of what we can receive in this life, of how much abundance we can experience in this life. I think there's always more. There's always more. The opportunities are endless. There are no limitations upon what we can experience in the realm of abundance in all of those areas: money, freedom, love, health, everything. There is limitless amounts of abundance available to us. And so this is a forever journey for me. This is a forever project for me. I do believe in our souls, and I get very esoteric before I even like introduce myself to you. I get very esoteric in the way that I view life. I very much am of the belief that our soul came here as a human to experience being a human, to experience life, the good, the bad, the wrong, the right. None of it to our soul is really positive or negative. It's all just neutral. It is our human mind that attaches like lack and not enough and scarcity. But our soul really craves growth. It craves development. It craves challenge. It craves the human experience. And so I feel like life I play it like it's a game. I really do view life like it's a game, and I can get pretty into that if you actually want to go deeper into how I view life as a game. I did a free masterclass maybe 2 months ago called Chosen, and it is honestly just the absolute motherfucking tits. I will put the link in for you guys below if you do want to go down that rabbit hole of how I believe we are chosen, how our souls come into this life, playing the game of life. Hint, hint, if you've ever watched the movie Free Guy on Disney it's Ryan Reynolds, right? That is how I view life. It's a motherfucking game. There are endless levels. You are never going to finish this game until you die. And again, if you want to get esoteric with it, your soul is going to come back in another body and play the game again. I have heard schools of thought that talk about the frequency in which we vibrate at, and that most humans on the planet, you can vibrate between a 1 and 1,000. A 1,000 level vibration is a fully enlightened soul that doesn't need to come back to Earth anymore, because we basically come as humans to level up the frequency of our soul, and then we get to enlightenment, and then you're done, right? So I guess in that sense, you're done. But in this human reality, you're never going to be done, because most humans, and I'm not going to tell you this is gospel, because I have no fucking idea. This was just things that I've looked into and heard and listened. I just find it very interesting. But most humans vibrate at something like a 200 to a 400 frequency, and we could go up to 1,000, but it takes lifetimes to get there. I believe this is all just a game of how much more abundance can I experience? How much more life can I receive? How much better can it be? How much more easeful can it be? And again, I want you to remember that it is our human mind that attaches good, bad, wrong, or right to what's playing out in front of us. But you don't watch a movie that's just all sunshines and rainbows. You watch it for the triumph. You watch it for the storyline. You watch it for the peak and the trough and the comeback and the character development, right? That's what your life is. Your life, I live my life like I'm going to tell the story one day. I live my life like I'm going to tell the story one day. And I feel like that is going to kind of bring us into the reintroduction of me. I want to start by telling you where I want to go, what my ultimate dreams in life are, in business are, and then I'll take you back to where I kind of started. So when I say that live your life like you're going to tell the story in hindsight one day, I mean that so deeply, because my big fuck off dream is to tour Australia. I say Australia because I don't really have the heart desire to tour the world, but maybe. Tour Australia, sharing my story, sharing my message, speaking on stages, empowering people, delivering an experience. Basically think Tony Robbins touring on stages. That's what I want. Or, for me, Esther Perel. Oh, I saw her live. And I dare say one day when I see Tony Robbins live, I'll feel this way as well. But I saw Esther Perel live once. And she's in her 60s or 70s or something. Fucking go off, woman. She did this 45-minute presentation, this talk, and she just is so funny and so fluent and so knowledgeable. But my favorite part was after the break, she came back and she did a Q&A, and she got into the audience and she got questions from the audience and she answered them. She was so quick and she was so witty, and you could tell that whilst the first part of the night was a presentation, a prepared talk, a whatever you want to call it, she knew her shit. She was embodied in her shit, because somebody that is not an embodiment of their work cannot quick fire answer random Q&As that they didn't know what was going to happen. She was just fucking incredible, and that is my dream. I want to tour. I want to be in that space. I want to be able to give people reflections and give people the permission slip to go and live their lives for them, to go and create the dreams that they have, to go and claim their desires and start working their way towards them. That is my ultimate vision, my ultimate goal. And I feel like I kind of get to fulfill that. I have been fulfilling that for a long, long, long time. It's not like it's so far away. And this is how I see abundance. Abundance is a mindset. It is a compounding. It starts inside of you. Anything that you want or you need, you're automatically creating separation between you and the thing. Money, freedom, love. All of those things can be found inside of us. Like when you break it down to its underlying gift, love, validation, security, freedom, we have access to those things internally already. Purpose. Once you find that feeling, that frequency internally, you become a magnet to the external reflection of those things, because life, reality, is just a projection of our internal world. And I don't want you to get so caught up in this that you can't change. You can't click your fingers and it changes in a fucking instant. Nobody is becoming an overnight millionaire. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe they are, but that's years worth of groundwork happening before that, right? What do they say? It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Everything in your life is leading you up into that point. But if you can build your internal world first, your external world is going to reflect that. So when I say that I want to speak on stages one day, I have been doing this for a fucking long time. I've been teaching dance. This is how I grew up. I grew up as a dancer. What part of my story I feel like I've been preaching manifestation for my whole fucking life, to be honest, as well. So my parents got divorced in year 4. My mum got with a man, my stepdad. He was at the time very masculine, very hard, not hard ass mean, but just a very hard worker, very controlling in a way, I guess, but just very masculine in an unhealthy way for him. As in, he got stressed, all of the things. Anyways, when they got together, she gave him the book, The Secret, and it fucking changed everything. It was something unlocked within him, which then unlocked something within everyone else. When we were younger, we were reading The Secret for Teenagers. We were having $10,000 checks. I literally remember him printing out a check of The Secret, and we all wrote our names on it, and we wrote $10,000 and we put it on our bathroom mirror, and every time I was brushing my teeth, I would look at this $10,000 check and be like, yeah, it's coming one day. And the funny thing is here, I wish I could turn around and tell you that my parents are millionaires and it's all fine and dandy and they did this stuff for 10 years and click their fingers and it's done. I was 9 when I started reading The Secret. I'm now 25. That's 16 years. And they're in a much better position than they were, but they're still in a similar position. But that does not change their belief in it. And that is what you need to be. It's I'm in this no matter what. I'm in this no matter what. So I was learning about the law of attraction. And this is also the thing, guys, right? You will evolve your knowledge as time goes along. When you are ready for more things, you will learn and understand more things. When I was 9, the law of attraction was it. I thought that was the only law of the universe. It's not. We're actually going to get into a series of the laws of the universe, but there is so much more that is out there and available to us. We just forget, or we just don't know. And I say forget because I think that your soul deep down knows, because when I was learning this shit, it wasn't I was learning, it was I was remembering. And honestly, that's how I want you to feel when you are listening to the podcast. I want you to feel as though it is a remembering. You are remembering. Okay, so I was learning all about the law of attraction, remembering all about the law of attraction, and I was teaching it to my friends. I was telling my parents that, no, this shit is bullshit. And I was an angry 9-year-old because my parents were divorced and all of the different things. I was angry. And I think that phase lasted for a year or 2. And I was telling them no, this is bullshit. I don't agree. Oh, the fucking check on my mirror. I don't. And then they would catch me telling my friends at school, hey, have you heard of the law of attraction? This is how you manifest. So I was teaching this stuff already. right? And as my life has gone on and grown, I have embodied so many different layers of this. When I was 16, I decided to move out of home from Canberra to Sydney to pursue my dreams to dance. I auditioned for a full-time dance school. It was called Evonbo. I was in year 10. I was very good at school. I was school vice captain. I had a beautiful friendship group, all of the things. I didn't actually want to leave, but oh my Lord, did I want to dance. I had been dancing my whole life. I always believed and knew in my heart that I would be a performer in some sense. So initially, I did not get in. I didn't get into this school. I had a really beautiful teacher that basically went back and advocated for me. And simultaneously to this, my stepdad was swinging his little yes, no crystal, the one that you say, show me yes, show me no. And it was telling him that it was all going to be okay and that I was going to get in. And I did. I got into this full-time school. The dance teacher that I mentioned went back and advocated for me. And little 16-year-old me, packed her bags and moved to Sydney, 3 hours away from home. I'm very grateful to my family that they paid for my rent my first year out of home. They paid for my school fees, my dance school fees the first year. And I really wanted to contribute to that. So I, at 16, got some volunteers, some really beautiful friends volunteer their time for me. I made a 40-minute dance show. I hired a theater. I got public liability insurance. I sold tickets. I put posters up around my high school. Posters around my high school of me in a crop top and booty shorts. I don't know who let me do that, but I did. And I sold out 2 shows. I think I raised something like $3,000 to help my parents pay for me to move out. And so I did. Now, once I'd started at this dance school, I got my feet grounded. I got my P plates. That was a whole scenario in itself, being able to learn how to drive and all of the different things. I started teaching dance. Now, I'd already been teaching dance a little bit at home, when I was younger. I always knew I wanted to teach. I fucking love teaching. And I, funnily enough, actually used to get in trouble teaching dance classes for sitting my girls down and talking to them too much. They would call them test talks. Can we have a test talk today? I would be inspirational, motivational. I would talk to them about their body image. I would talk to them about their self-belief, all of these different tools that are so important in life. So much more important than a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4, right? And I fucking loved that. I loved choreographing. I loved creating. I loved, I thought I wanted to be a choreographer more than I wanted to be a dancer. But above all else, I loved connection. I loved those talks, right? And then I started teaching Pilates. I started teaching Reformer Pilates about I think I was 19 when I started doing that. And same thing, I love telling stories. I love connecting with people. I love being entertaining. There was a point in my Pilates teaching career where I was teaching 9 classes on a Tuesday. I would teach 5 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. And by that 9th class, my jokes would be timed with the sequence of the exercise. I would know if people were going to laugh or if they weren't. The way that I spoke sounded like the first time. Every time I knew how to make a story sound fresh. I knew how to engage people. Even in this, I've told some of these stories so many times before, and every time I know how to make it feel like the first time. I know how to make it feel like the first time you're hearing these things. And this is what I mean when I say I have been preparing to get on stages and speak my whole life. I have been ready for this my whole life. Even the podcast, this is a version of me getting up on stage and empowering people and inspiring people and teaching people, having them see something in themselves and motivate themselves. I've been doing this already. It's just coming on a greater scale. And that is how I see abundance. I know I said I was going to keep getting into my story, and I'm sure we'll go there a little bit. But honestly, that is how I see abundance, how I see manifestation of any kind. We don't manifest what we want. We manifest how we feel. And so if you already feel important, you're going to get things that are reflecting that back to you. If you already feel expressed, you're going to get opportunities that are going to invite you in to express yourself more. If you already feel abundant, you're going to attract more abundance. If you don't feel abundant with $1, you're never fucking going to feel abundant with $1 million. Because let me tell you, money, business, I assume kids, because that is my ultimate goal one day. All of these things are amplifiers. Relationships are amplifiers. They are going to amplify what you already feel inside, what you already feel internally. So if you already feel stressed, more money is going to make you feel more stressed. If you already feel abundant, more money is going to make you feel more abundant. This is why we need to work on the mindset before we work on the reality. We need to work on the internal before we work on the external. And I'm not saying I'm not a feminine woo manifestation coach that is going to tell you to sit on your couch and wait for everything to come to you. I'm not in the game of waiting. And we're going to get into that when we get into the spiritual laws. I'm going to do a little mini series. One of them is the law of action. And action is so important. Action, momentum. But we can do that internally as much as we can do it externally, right? I am all about seeing the internal blockages or the internal limitations, the internal beliefs that we have put upon ourselves or we have unconsciously subscribed to because they're societal, because they're everywhere around us, and releasing those so that we can go and choose abundance. Abundance is not given to you in any area of your life. Abundance is chosen. I'm going to repeat that. Abundance is not given to you in any area of your life. Abundance is chosen. Tattoo that on your motherfucking forehead, all right? How are you going to choose abundance in this very moment? In any area of your life. Financial abundance, relationship abundance, love abundance, freedom abundance, health abundance. How are you going to choose the perspective of abundance, knowing that that compounds and compounds and compounds and compounds? Now, back to my story. We're up to Pilates teaching. I'm teaching Pilates. I'm still kind of dancing. COVID happened. I think it was after COVID that I started getting into bodybuilding. I was like, I want a challenge. Give me something to do. What am I going to do? And idea one day, bodybuilding. I was like, okay. My mum did it when I was younger and I'd forgotten about that until I told her. So I did my first bodybuilding show. It was all right. Didn't really like my coach. I fell in love with bodybuilding, but didn't love my coach. Didn't love the federation that I competed in either. I didn't even know there was more than one federation. So after I learned about all of this, I'm a balls to the walls, all in kind of a girl, and I'm healing that part of me that is all or nothing and seeing the strength in it, leveraging the strength in it, because remember, nothing is good or bad, wrong or right. Everything only has a shadow and a gift frequency. So I was leveraging the gift frequency in the all or nothing kind of thing, but I'm trying to get rid of the shadows of that still. But I was an all or nothing kind of gal, and I was deep in the deep end of bodybuilding. Anyways, after that first show, got myself a new coach, learnt that there was this federation. At the time, it was called WBFF. Now it is FMG. I went, yes, I want to do that. I want to do that so bad. So I started prepping for my first WBFF show. And then pretty sure we had lockdown again. And around that same point in time, I accidentally fell pregnant. I actually didn't have a cycle at the time, a period cycle at the time. So it was a shock, to say the least. But like I said to you a little while ago, my number one goal in life is to be a mum. It always has been. Like, I remember being in year 2, having dreams that I came into school and was like, sorry guys, I've been away. I had a baby. Like, I didn't even know how babies were made then. I just have wanted to be a mum in my bones for my whole life, more than I want to get on stage, right? And yeah, I fell pregnant. And Brady and I had been together for 3 years, but we were 22, 23, and it just wasn't the right time. And that's perfect. I was about to compete. I was about to start prepping. I had these plans. I was starting my business. Like, I had just started PTing at the same time. And whilst that was the hardest decision, it took me like 2 weeks to really, really decide that, no, this is not the right time. It was the biggest blessing, because it made me realize that I had gone down this rabbit hole of like the masculine, the doing, I had lost touch with that spiritual side of me that little 9-year-old Tess had. I'd lost touch with all the manifestation, and I'd seen a lot of people go into bodybuilding as a band-aid to cover up their emotions, to cover up their shitty relationship with themselves, to cover up their eating disorders, to cover up things. A lot of people use bodybuilding as a band-aid, and I refuse to do that. So I started going to therapy. This was definitely not my first therapist. I've done family mediation, been to Headspace when I was younger. I never really connected with therapy, but this one therapist I did really, really like. She was great. However, after about six sessions, I was like, okay, like, this is not really for me. I don't feel the connection to it. But I was in my first business program at the same time, and it was very bro business. I did not enjoy it, but I met my mentor in that space, and she left that business. She started doing intuitive readings, and I was like, yeah, give me one of those. I don't know what the fuck an intuitive reading is, but something inside of me says I want that. And she told me in that she didn't know about the abortion. Nobody knew about it. She told me that my room space needed healing. And even like saying that to now kind of makes me emotional. And she told me that it felt like a baby boy. And ever since that day, I have connected to his spirit, to his energy, to his presence. When I see 444, it represents him. And that was a really big pivotal moment in my life. It led me to her. It led me to, I didn't even know that mindset coaching was a fucking industry. It led me to that. It snowballed everything. It led me to a deeper relationship, a deeper connection with myself. I even remember like how badly I wanted to speak about the abortion and all of the beautiful things that had brought for me and my experience in that. Because I don't love taboo topics. Like, I don't love that taboo things are taboo. I'll just talk about them. I'm such an open book. And I remember Brody and I having a bit of conflict about me wanting to share that, and ultimately he came to a place where he was okay with it, and I just, like, it's one of the most beautiful moments in our relationship. I'm so grateful for that, for his trust in me being able to speak my truth. So yeah, I was doing all this inner work, mindset work, everything, and I won my bodybuilding pro card. Yeah, I had a great body. Yes, I had muscle density. Yes, I looked the part, all of the things, but more than anything else, I had an energy, a presence on stage that nobody else has or had. I still don't think anyone's kind of shown up on stage the way I did, but I'm just going to leave that there. So I won my bodybuilding pro card, and it boomed my motherfucking business. My business grew to 6 figures very, very quickly. And whilst that was due to my bodybuilding pro card, it was also due to me and every aligned action I had showed up in to create that moment where I won the pro card. And then I had the business alongside of that. Everything boomed. I started doing human design readings because people wanted to know about how they get to know themselves. And then I started doing mindset coaching, which actually took me a motherfucking long time to decide to do. I had a psychologist friend at the time who told me, don't call it mindset coaching because that's bad. And it held me back for a really long time. But when I finally decided to do it, I signed 4 clients in 24 hours and I made $4,444. And if you remember, 444 are my numbers. I was like, oh, baby boy's got my back. This is absolutely what I'm meant to be doing. And everything kind of spiraled into, I started teaching about ego and shadow work. And then I started going into like a business coaching as well. At the same time, Brody and I moved from Sydney to Queensland where we knew fucking no one. Like, my relationships got deeper. My romantic relationship with Brody got deeper. Like, everything just evolved from there. And I say that knowing that, like, it's taken a dip back from there now as well. And that's probably the most vulnerable thing that I can tell you is there are a lot of people online in the business world that will tell you they built 100K cash months in 6 weeks. Some bullshit like that. I'm not saying that's not possible. It is. It so fucking is. But if I can tell you, the thing that I've learned the most in the last 12 months is that sustainable increases are where it's at, because my nervous system could not hold the amount of money that I was making, and I got rid of it all. I got rid of it through competing. I got rid of it through ego investments into the personal development world. I spent over $50,000 investing in personal development. So whilst I made $100K, I spent $50,000 investing in personal development, another $30,000 investing in competing again, because I went to Vegas and competed. And then I competed in Queensland as well. Like, I have learned a lot about abundance being an internal state, not an external. The external just complements the internal. Because I tell you, when I made that more money, it made me more stressed. And I'm not saying that, like, we're going to be back at 6 figures soon. Like, it's all good. I'm not saying that you can't have that and beyond be possible. But what I'm saying is that context is important. So many people, because they see all this, like, incredible things online without the context, so many people shame themselves and they feel like they're moving slow. And you're not. You have your own timeline, you have your own pace, you have your own lessons. And yes, I believe that you are in control and that you can speed those things up 1000%. I really do believe that. I do believe that you're in control, but I also believe that life is a co-creation between you and the universe. Between you and your higher self. Between you and source. Like, I don't think you would have made it this far if you don't believe in energetics and you don't believe in the universe. You probably would have tapped out when I said your soul. You're like, fuck this. But I really do believe that everything is a co-creation. And so whilst you have control, you also have to surrender. And it's that surrendering process and that detachment. One of my first masterclasses ever in my mindset business was called Unattached. It is about that detachment from what you're making the outcome mean about you. And deciding that everything you want, you already have. You already have freedom, even if it's for 5 minutes. You get to feel that internal experience. You already have abundance. You have to feel that internal experience. So everything that you desire, you already have somewhere. When you can tap into that and when you can leverage that, you are playing a different game from what most humans are. And again, I really, really recommend that you jump into Chosen and you watch that, because it's incredible. Maybe I'll even post it as an episode. Maybe I'll post a part of it. We'll see. But guys, that is a bit of an introduction to me, to the rebrand of the Abundance Project. I am so excited to get into some more episodes with you guys, to go down our rabbit hole of the 12 spiritual laws. We're going to be doing a mini episode on each of them. I'm so excited to bring you some episodes with some incredible guests. And I'm so excited to build a community. Like I said, we have the Abundance Project Instagram page. So make sure you go and give that a follow. Make sure you keep up to date with everything. If there are any specific topics you want me to talk about, like I already want to speak to the ego. And like I said, I want this podcast to give you the foundational information of everything that I then expand on inside of my business. I want to give you some business foundations. Like, I want to give you the tools that you need to be able to create abundance in every area of your life. But I also want to go on this journey with you. I want to share my experiences. I want to share my stories, my growth, my challenges. And I really I'm such a community person, such a connection person. So I would encourage you to drop into the Abundance Project DMs if you had any realizations, if you had some key moments, if you want me to expand on anything. I really invite you into that, and I cannot wait to connect with you. So thank you, my love, for joining me in this episode today, and I will speak to you again next week. Bye. Thank you so incredibly much for tuning into this week's episode of The Abundance Project. It means the world to me to have us create a community of like-minded people who are creating abundance in their own lives. So if you could share this episode with a friend, give us a 5-star rating, tag us when you share on your Instagram stories, it would mean the absolute world to me. Until next week, guys, go and find some magic in the micro moments. Love you.